I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yo! It's WrestleMania season. How's it going? Your boy Flobo, boys. I'm thinking the Mac Lynch is dropping in there, but don't worry about it because it's Monday Night Raw coming to you live from the greatest city in the world, Brooklyn, USA!
Brooklyn.
Yeah! Barclays Center is home to Monday Night Raw. Mac Lynch is going out there. We have so much to talk about today. Super Showdown was last week. Elimination Chamber is next week. Stacked card from top to bottom. But before we get into all that, we're talking the King's Court's coming. We got some great poster action coming. Before we get to all that, let's introduce our all-star panel. On my far left, the brand new best friend of Chris Jericho and the voice of the AEW Fight After Show. Give it up for the Jack Farmer.
Hey, I'm super pumped to be here. We're going to have a good time. Boys Night.
Yeah, Boys Night for sure. The social media skim, are you all about that on the AEW side?
Yeah, we did the social media skim earlier today. It's going to be up tonight. You guys are definitely going to want to check it out. AEW may have a new superstar coming their way. You're not going to want to miss it.
That's a tease. Okay. On his right, talking about content creation, the CEO and founder of RealTalker.com. He's a bona fide film critic, but he's also one of our best friends on the planet. Give it up for the Jim Alexander.
Hey, this bachelor himself. Jack, did you say it was the wrestling skin? Is that what it is?
That's After Dark. After Dark.
After Dark, yes.
Hey, because if it's a skin,
You got it. There's a monthly subscription for that channel.
Hey, I'll be subscribing.
60-second reactions all you need for that one. But live in the booth, the man pulling all the strings. Give it up for the Josh Alonso.
What's going on? Where's this from again? This show's in
Brooklyn! Shout out to my hometown. Shout out to the New York Guardians. Won their match this week. XFL's here, baby. Also want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat. We got Daniel Pugh, Joseph Boza, Michael Blake, Dylan Matthews, Angie Harris. Oh, that's a new one. Maria Annette, how's it going? Derek Fisher. You guys are making this amazing. So before we get into Raw, Super Showdown overall thoughts.
Yeah.
I know it's a stacked episode, but just let me tell you guys feeling, because I know a lot of people had a lot of opinions about Super Showdown. Jim?
Legends rise. I love that.
Godsmack.
You know what? I like Super Showdown. I'd like to attend one. Well, I don't know if I'm going to.
You've attended one.
That's a commute, baby.
They sell Ryu and all those, look at the buildings of Ryu and all that stuff. I mean, it's a great promotional tool, I guess. They really sell the hell out of the place. And the fireworks, something. But the show itself, they do put in effort to it. I mean, no question. I found that Undertaker thing to be a pretty big surprise.
Okay, yeah.
I enjoyed that. I don't like how he squashed AJ in a sense, but I think they do a solid job. When they push it out to be such a main show, I think they bring out the stars. I actually enjoyed it. I'll say that. I watched it later because I couldn't watch it in the morning,
I know, Jack, after AEW Revolutions is kind of a moot question, but thoughts about Super Showdown? That's a big review.
Yeah, I think they got a lot of negative reaction that was probably more than it deserved, considering what it is. But I agree. I think they do a good job of trying to make things matter. I know a lot of people were frustrated over the title change, but hey, you want these shows to matter, title changes need to happen.
Yeah, I thought the show was solid. I understand when people are upset at what they think WWE should be, especially now after Revolution being, let's talk about the other company right here, being so good for what the alternative product is offering.
Because it was in Chicago, that's why it was so good.
Yeah,
Well, the
They always,
part.
they do. I was at All Out. So.
I never put my own city over. Brooklyn!
There you go. Best Shake Shack next door. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I ain't going there. I don't want no Corona, that's for sure.
Yeah, we got to get into it. Got a huge show going on. Let's talk about what happened at the end of the night tonight. So Beth Phoenix comes out. We're looking for retribution from Randy Orton because we're at the Edge. And Randy Orton had this whole thing about, I'm doing it to help out Edge because he had a great idea. He can come back and be awesome. And I basically hit him over the head with a chair. Thoughts about that, Jim Alexander?
He's justifying. Didn't we talk about Randy Orton justifying this crazy person? Well, he thinks he's sane, but we see him as crazy. And this just plays into it even more so, that he's doing this for the right of Edge, right? He's actually, in his mind, he is saving Edge and helping Edge. And of course, Beth Phoenix. We knew she's going to get RKO'd. And credit to Beth. You know what I mean? Yeah. Coming out of retirement, she's been away from me, but still putting over angles of her husband and letting Randy RKO her. I thought Beth deserves a ton of credit here. You know,
Yes.
I mean, even though she's an announcer, but she's still willing to put into work, take the bumps. I thought it was awesome of Beth to do that for Randy and really heighten this thing, because once the spouses are involved, you know, then everything is fair game, right?
So, Jack Farmer, you were telling me this earlier during the green room. You were saying, like, a lot of the matches at WrestleMania look like they can be pretty awesome, but they seem kind of mathematical. But here we actually have a grudge match involving emotions and families and naming the children of Edge and Beth Phoenix. Thoughts about this feud so far?
We've said it before on the show. Randy Orton is one of the best of all time, I think. He's definitely in that conversation. He is so good at creating tension in that ring. When he was in there, I think there's that question of, is he going to RKO her? Is he not going to? But you're just tense the whole time. Is it coming?
Right.
What's going to happen? And then I agree with Jim. The fact that he was able to do it feels like this is such an emotional and personal feud right now. I think it's the #1 feud in WWE at the moment.
But Beth attacked him first, though.
Can we rewind the tape? Because Randy's the guy. No, Randy's the guy that's safe in his spot, that has the jets. That some guys that are level there. No. Okay, whoever said that doesn't count, because we see a guy here that just didn't get the right angle. That's all he was waiting for, the right feud, right angle. It's not like we could have retired Randy. Oh, he's safe. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't care about. No, he cares. If you give him material, he is literally the best right now around at doing this. You know, with some of the other, with the Rock, Cena gone. There's no one better that can sell the life-likeness of this feud. You know, the reality of a feud. When Randy Orton's on, when you give him good material, this is not a guy that's retired or waiting to just like collect checks like certain people think. No, this guy's at the top of his game, and when he's doing these things, I mean, we're seeing magic. And
we've got to give super credit to him here as well, because super credit. It's worth 3 regular credits. You have look, because he's in a feud with Edge, and it's a personal feud with Edge. Edge isn't here.
True.
He's basically carrying this on his own right now with different people coming in, and it still feels right now, again, the #1 thing in WWE right now is Edge and Randy Orton. There's no titles on the line.
True.
It's just a personal grudge match, but it is the most fascinating and best part of all of WWE right now.
No question. And we thought this feud, honestly, would be the one that's like, oh, well, we've seen these guys before in the past. Like, you hate WrestleMania sometimes, at least I do, matches that are like rematches or rehashed feuds that we've seen in the past. Like, Edge's been gone so long. I really wanted him to feud with someone new, like AJ or some, you know, you wanted to capitalize Edge with people, dream matches we haven't seen. This is a dream match because you have one guy, a master right now, carrying this feud, and when Edge comes to it, it's just gonna pop in so many good ways that this is the most excited I am for any match coming to WrestleMania.
I gotta say that Randy Orton's one of the few guys in the roster that his best matches are when he slows down. I think it'd be a perfect opponent for Edge at WrestleMania.
It's gonna be great.
We gotta move on. Jack Farmer, can you tell the world how they can interact with this AfterBuzz show and other AfterBuzz shows? Good sir.
Well, yeah, you can interact with us on iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube if you're watching, but the most important part of how you interact is hitting the like button, writing a comment, leaving a 5-star review, because what we do is we get those, we read them, we feel really good about ourselves, and we continue to make more content on AfterBuzz TV. So go ahead, keep the cycle going, hit the like button, write a comment, and of course, subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you to all who do that.
And make sure to use the hand sanitizer, wash your hands, nerds. Don't leave your basements. We don't want anything being spread around here. Just make sure you're constantly clicking the right things and keeping sanitation afterwards.
I give us a moment being like, hey, Jack's right. 5. Wait a minute, Jim. That's really offensive. That's a 1-star review. So at the top of the show, Brock Lesnar comes out, tries to run the town with Paul Heyman, but Drew McIntyre has other plans. THREE Claymores to the face of Brock Lesnar, who somehow has the tramp stamp we learned today. Jim Alexander, walk me through this. Drew McIntyre looks to be the guy that took down Brock Lesnar, but he is kind of being kind of face-ish, overly face, or no?
Drew?
Yeah,
no question. I think it's no secret anyway that Drew is being a face.
But a good way or like overexposed, I mean?
I think it's a good way because the fans are actually riding with him.
Yeah.
If you don't hear him being booed, like everyone's on his, on his path. Everyone wants him to win. And the thing I like about this feud, Drew's looking stronger. Usually, no matter what, they will book Brock Lesnar looking stronger no matter what.
True.
Like, rarely does someone get over on him. And right now, from the start, he got over him at the Royal Rumble.
Again.
He's been getting over him every week. Drew is being built strong in the feud, which is huge because
Yeah.
it legitimately makes you think every week that he has a better and better chance to actually take away that title and win. Because right now, I'm actually picking Drew to be a favorite. The way he's being booked, I think he is the
fair.
favorite, and it would be a surprise if Brock actually won.
Jack.
I agree, I think the beauty of what they're doing is they're not overexposing him. Again, first off, the kicks today super pop on my end. We were
He did
watching.
pop pretty hard.
The first one was like, oh, and then when he came back for the second one,
Yeah.
it was like, oh,
I
it was
forgot
even-
something.
Yeah, and he did it a third time. But that's all we saw of him. We didn't see a 15-minute promo. We didn't see him have a long match with someone who we knew he was going to beat.
Yep.
They're keeping little bits of him so we keep interested and not overexposed, and that's the key.
Yeah.
This is
Lesnar and Brock and Goldberg and Reigns. Who do you think is going to have the longer match? Who do you think is going to have the shorter match?
Good question from Josh Alonso in the booth. Fellas?
Brock and Drew are going to have the longer match.
Yeah.
I think Goldberg and Reigns are going to have a very short match.
Goldberg can't have I mean, he could, but I don't want to see a 25-minute Goldberg match. I don't think he can.
He's not supposed to.
Yeah, he never was supposed. He wasn't designed that way.
No. I don't think, even as a Goldberg fan, I don't want to see a long Goldberg match.
I think one thing, when we're talking about Randy and Edge being the best feud right now being done by the wrestlers, I think they're the ones selling it, Randy specifically, but this is the best written feud, is
Got
the Lesnar and McIntyre. It's the one that's written for him, the way being set out and put out. I think, as Orton is building his own feud on his own, I think he takes a lot of credit for that. This one is credit to the writers for really booking this properly and setting this up really
Speaking
well.
of feuds, I want to shout out to the feud going on in the chat between Charlene and Demo Katabi. Charlene says that Jim is a virus, but Demo says Jim is awesome.
Listen, let's clean ourselves up for Charlene. Let's give her some sanitizer.
Charlene, I'm a fan.
Let's give her some sanitizer, some soap, some soap. Demo knows what's up.
Dude,
That's a good fan.
Josh, I love you. Let's talk about this next match. It's a tag team match. It's a Mac Militant.
Coming to get it on.
Holla, holla, holla. Let's see Rey Mysterio and Humberto Carillo hit right live in Brooklyn, taking on Angel Garza and the returning Andrade. 30-day suspension lifted. He's back, looking pretty fly. Thoughts about the match, Jack Farmer?
The first thing I noticed about this match is that Garza and Andrade had matching tights, which
Yes.
I think to me might mean we might get a tag team out of them, at least for the short term.
I'm down.
Again, this was a fun match. They're great wrestlers. I've said before, I would definitely love to see them go their separate ways and do some separate things. Again, I feel like this combination of four people have had an interaction on every show for 6 months, and I'm ready for them to do different things.
Hater.
But they do always have great matches, so that to that side it's entertaining. But I do think coming out of it, Carillo pinned Andrade. I feel like we're gonna get a U.S. title defense from Andrade at Elimination Chamber, and then I think
Yeah, the card's pretty light.
yeah.
I don't think this means anything towards WrestleMania. It's too late to book a feud. I mean, it's been going on. You can't book anything fresh, I don't think, at this point with this crown. The thing for me is, who's the long-term biggest winner out of all this? Who's the one that's set up for the future? For me, there's no question it's Garza. Because I think Andrade's been kind of fumbling around for a while. And I think at some point, he is what he is. I just, at some
fair.
point, I
That's
think
fair.
they think that maybe this is the best of him. That's where they're going to get it. Intercontinental, U.S. title kind of run here and there, and just not take it to that next level, because we still haven't seen him talk on a mic. As
I
long as
unfortunately
Zelina's
agree
there.
with you now, yeah.
Rey Mysterio's at the end of his road. He's putting over guys. There's no future left really much for him. And then Carillo is so limited,
In what way?
Besides in ring, I just think he doesn't have the look. In a sense, he looks too boyish, and he's got a very youthful look.
I
just think he's a
boyish.
very generic. you got a grown man beard, okay?
You look mannish.
Garza's got the personality. Garza's got the charisma.
Yeah.
Garza, you can do a lot of things with. I feel like Garza's going to be the breakout star of these four when we're looking at it going down forward, and it's just buying time. Let them do all these combinations. We've seen already. It's after WrestleMania where we're going to see it really starting to show.
Final thought, Jack Farmer?
I have been a huge fan of Andrade for a long time. I've pushed for him for a long time, but I got to agree with Jim here. Right now, Angel Garza is someone I want to see more of, and I think the fact that he came out last actually says a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he's
That's a
the
good point.
star. If I had to hitch my wagon to one of these people, it would be Zelina Vega. But if it had to be one of the guys wrestling today, it
Yeah.
would be Angel Garza.
Shout out to the chat. The real YT says Jim is right. Lucci says Garza is where it's at right now. And Derek Fisher says enough with the Eddie 3 Amigo stuff. It's been overused. Jack was actually saying this during the show. Thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Even I especially because everyone boos Andrade when he does it. I don't know why. He's just doing a move. Why don't we say he's doing a tribute to this move? Like,
but he's not over. That's the thing. They're booing it because he's not over. Like people don't respect him. I think the fans don't respect him in a way where like Eddie's a legend and someone that's at least could be great. You know, deserves to do that. You know, like it's almost like a paying respects and honor to a legend, and he hasn't earned it or he's not good enough to do that. That's why he's not getting any. He's kind of getting booed, not the good kind of boos. Yeah. You know, it's not the heat. He's just getting real. Like, no, don't do this.
It hurts my feelings that Jim is right about Andrade.
Hey, we told him separate him from Zelina. Let's see something different. That's the only hope at this point. Get him away from Zelina. That hasn't worked. Clearly, this is the end. You know, they reached their limit. Do something different, new, and separate him from her.
Well, if you're going to be a great wrestler, and that's who you are, because Andrade's built as a guy who's supposed to be a great wrestler, but when you've got a 50-50 record, it's hard to back up that you're a great wrestler. Bret Hart is a guy who says, I'm a great wrestler, but he had a great win record, so you could back that up. If you're someone who's supposed to be someone who's phenomenal in the ring, you got to have a better win-loss record than the 50-50 that he seems to have.
Training wheels need to come off. He needs a mouth. He needs something. He needs to start at least trying to look. If the Kabuki Warriors, if Asuka can get over, you know, speaking, you know, in Japanese and all that, and they're over. I thought that was more fun to see him speaking their native language than just try, you know, say a few words. It was actually cool because they didn't care then. And they were free to do it. I think Andrade needs to do something similar like that. Enough of like you can see what they're trying to hide him. It's like a bad quarterback in NFL where you're throwing 5-yard passes because you're scared to throw down the field because he's going to throw in Mitch Trubisky. He's going to throw an interception.
Or who's the other shade at? I couldn't tell.
Or can't throw down
or Sanchez. Or
Mitch Trubisky. You can't pacify it for too long, and he's been around too long for him. He needs to step up in a lot of ways.
So about stepping up, moving on. AJ Styles and Alistair Black was billed way before Raw even started, but turns out that AJ made a bit of a mini gauntlet match with the members of the OC. Alistair Black tries, he might beat Gallows, beat Carl Anderson, but loses to AJ Styles in a pin that's kind of reminiscent of The Undertaker. Jack Farmer, let's talk about this. First time Alistair Black has been pinned on the main roster that I can think of. Thoughts about that?
I thought it was a weird way to have him take his first loss. I mean, I get you protect him a bit by having the OC first kind of do the gauntlet match, but it did still feel a little odd seeing AJ in a cocky pin over a guy who's been undefeated on Raw for so long. And I don't really know where he's going with it either because clearly AJ's going with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, so I worry about someone like Alistair Black at this point.
Did he look strong, though, in his loss? I mean, he did beat 2 other guys.
Yeah, I mean, he beat 2 guys I don't remember the last time they won, though.
Okay, good point.
I mean, to be fair,
Super Showdown.
He beat Gallows.
Legends rise.
Would you stop with the Gots, man? We're getting sued.
I mean, Gallows just lost to a guy who was squashed twice in a row. So I don't really know what beating them means, but I mean, again, he was protected a bit, but it was a weird way to give him his first loss.
Let's talk about this brewing AJ Styles Undertaker feud, Jim. I mean, the reason why AJ's mad today is that Undertaker got in his way of winning his trophy, which means absolutely nothing to most of us.
Hey, it was the Taiwan.
Not Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Saudi Arabia. Taiwan trophy.
Wrong country, but still, you know, it's reaching high up there. Here's the thing. I didn't like how AJ was booked. You couldn't. Tonight made sense because you need to make him look super strong. He cannot lose going on. From now on to WrestleMania, he cannot lose. He needs to look strong. Going over Alistair Black was a little bit of making up for the way he went down in Super Showdown. And because Alistair, like I said, he's a guy like Garza, plans for him after WrestleMania. Right now, it's all about the main stars. It's about building WrestleMania feuds. Alistair Black has no feud going on right now. It's about putting over the guys that are going to matter come WrestleMania. So right now, AJ needs to look strong. I'm glad he picked it up. This thing with The Undertaker, you could have done it where Undertaker just didn't take a chokeslam. Because now when you're building that match, well, AJ went down to a chokeslam. We remember that, right?
Right.
So it just happened. So how are you going to build AJ to look strong? You know, to look weird. He actually can take Undertaker. He's going to have to prove that was a fluke, that he wasn't ready. You can still salvage that. But it was a lot of mess that you had to dig out of because he took an easy chokeslam and just got pinned 1, 2, 3.
I don't know. I don't take a whole lot of stock in what happens with that just because it's. For me, it was like he was surprised by The Undertaker. He wasn't expecting The Undertaker. And again, I take
The man took 20 minutes to come down to the ring. You can't be surprised by that.
The old Iron Sheik move.
But
right?
also AJ was just in a match before that, in a gauntlet match. If Alistair Black wasn't squashed, then it's hard to say that AJ was squashed in a similar situation.
But AJ's fighting, that's the main, this is a major match for WrestleMania.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
Alistair Black doesn't matter if he loses or not, because you're not booking him for anything big.
Can I put my, I got to jump in there. I want to put my wrestling critic hat on, right? It's 2020. There is no more streak for The Undertaker. And it's not even the attraction of him wrestling at WrestleMania because Undertaker wrestles in Saudi Arabia twice a year. Is there something else they have to do to make this AJ Styles Undertaker feud worthy?
No, it's because they've never wrestled. This is a legend, one of the biggest legends of WWE versus the guy that not only he's never faced, but you can say arguably one of the best wrestlers in the company in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? One of the top guys in the company.
Yeah,
this is a dream matchup of different styles because, no pun intended, but they're counting on AJ to carry this match, obviously with the shape Undertaker's in and the age he's in. This is big. I feel like this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of match. This is... If we're looking back at it, this is the face of TNA going against arguably the face of WWE.
Sure.
So a good TNA. TNA when it mattered,
Yeah.
So this is almost, we talk about Goldberg versus Cena or whatever, Goldberg versus whoever is the face of WCW versus the WWE or when he wrestled. This is TNA to a sense when it mattered versus WWE. This is big time. This is a lot of history if you look back at these two guys individually coming together. And I think this. We always say it could be his last match, but
I
if
think
it
might
is,
be.
this is a good one.
I think it might be and I think it's AJ because I think Undertaker wants to go out on a high note, and he knows it's going to be a good match if AJ's involved.
That's a good point. I mean, AJ is kind of the workhorse. Tails P says, I'd rather have Taker versus Gallows and bring up fake Kane. You was smoking, bro. What is Gallows Taker WrestleMania? That's hilarious. Sorry.
That would be the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Speaking of things that are difficult to watch, Ricochet had a match with Riddick Moss for the 24/7 title days after losing to Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. And Riddick Moss pins Ricochet absolutely clean. I think Jack and I mouth were agape. What happened to Ricochet?
Oh, I'll tell you what happened. Because
who's that? Tell me what happened.
Who told all of you nerds last week when everyone, that other guy from, George Hermosa,
the guy who's Raw Espanol.
Yeah, he was here. He's like, oh yeah, definitely something.
That is the worst George Hermosa impression I've ever heard in my life.
Something happens. He's trying to argue with me. He's trying to throw stuff about Eric Rowan. Listen, I'm always right. I told you this is gonna be a squash. I told you this is gonna be less than 5 minutes. I've been calling this for weeks already. Ricochet was going to get destroyed, and he did.
Fine.
I'm not surprised by this. You feed him to Brock Lesnar. This was a joke of a match to begin to.
Okay.
To begin going, and anyone who said, "Oh, Ricochet's going to show his mood," they don't care about Ricochet. Look at me when I talk. I'm spitting all over. Nobody cares about Ricochet where it matters because the guy's good.
Right.
But he's just not over.
But tonight, forget Super Showdown.
I don't know
Roderick, not Roderick Strong. Riddick Moss.
Riddick Moss.
Yes.
I don't know who he is. So him going over Ricochet tells you everything about what they think about Ricochet.
Riddick Moss has been in the NXT system for since 2005, 16.
Was he in 205 Live?
No, he's at 205. He's in NXT Classic or NXT post FCW. He was in NXT UK with Dorian Mack as the Outliers. He got brought up as what's his name? Mojo's offensive line.
Okay, that tells you everything else.
Jack Farmer, what he thought about the match and the actual pin result tonight.
Him losing to Brock Lesnar didn't bother me whatsoever.
Not at all.
We knew that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was fine. This blew me away that Riddick Moss beat Ricochet clean. It feels like let's build up Riddick Moss. You could have had him beat any random jobber and it would have been fine. He could have beat a local talent and would have been fine.
Mojo. Take out Mojo.
I don't
He doesn't
know why
matter.
Ricochet took this loss. I mean,
he wasn't rolled up either. He was
beat
clean. Yeah.
He got hit with to be fair, it was a cool backdrop into a clothesline and then that weird neck breaker thing, but it was I don't know, it seems like Ricochet did something wrong backstage or something because he went from being someone who was upper mid card to just losing in a match to someone who has the lowest of titles, and I don't know. I think my hope is that he maybe gets a manager and turns heel.
I just can't imagine the logic behind it. If wrestling was absolutely real, you were the number one contender for the WWE title, you lose and you go, next stop, 24/7 title, and you lose that too? I don't know. Do you transfer?
BMP. That's what Mac would say,
Yeah,
right?
well, shout out to Evan Mack, AfterBuzz TV alum, the Black Man's Purgatory.
Yep, that's what he is right now. That's where
Oh,
he's in.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so photogenic.
Let's get maybe Undertaker buried Ricochet or something. Maybe that was a burial match or something, because when I talk about getting buried, this is getting buried. This is exactly what I mean by that. I just think they just don't have any high hopes for him. Like going, because there's always let's look at it with Ricochet. He's always being, since he was drafted to Raw. NXT, whole different story. He could be on top. He was on top.
On top, baby.
Top superstar there, no question. He would have still been there if he was still on that roster. They just don't know what to do with him, and they don't care. They don't care if there's something to do with him, because he's that guy, like I said, a stepping stone, right? We're like, oh, we need someone, let's throw him in. He might win this week. Oh, sure. When you don't care about someone, you just toss them into random things just to cover that week, you know?
Yeah.
They don't want to expose anyone else to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
They wanted to see a squash test. Let's give it to Ricochet. They could have done Bobby last year, but Bobby looks the part. Bobby could maybe hang with Lesnar.
Stop. You're telling the truth. It hurts too much.
Yeah,
Stop. I quit.
I like Ricochet. I think the guy's really good.
I like him too.
But here's the thing. He's too much of a nice guy. He sounds like a next door neighbor you'd want to have, living next to you.
Mr. Pino Girl.
Yeah, he needs a mean streak. Even if he's a nice guy, he needs to develop some sort of edge to him. He's got no edge.
He has new tights. Jack,
yeah, he needs a lot more than that.
I mean, I think the way I felt about Alistair Black, I think, came a lot because it came right after this. And it feels like there's been a lot of people that we view as the future taking some really hard L's the past few days. And I get it, we're building up to WrestleMania. Sorry, unless you're the now, we don't care when we build up to WrestleMania, but it did feel like it felt like a hard episode for people who are hopeful of future talents. And I love Ricochet. I want all these great things for him, but man, this has been a tough week or so.
It's a warning sign. It's a warning sign. Like, don't be too hopeful to jump up to the main roster. Look,
there is no main roster. Three brands.
Well, it is to me. Balor went back because he knew maybe he would have that sort of fade, but he maybe would have been lost in a shuffle, been a Bobby Roode or some sort of Ziggler. You know what I mean? Just kind of fumbling around also in the mid card. He went back, and now he's on top of that brand. These guys, I don't see anything going on right now. Why can't you put him back out there, especially Ricochet? Because things are not looking up for him.
What say you in the chat? But we got to move on. But it's now time for my favorite part of the night. It's now time for TJs Budva.
Oh.
I'm in the booth by myself.
Hey.
TJs Budva. Oh, wow. This is a dope little space in here. I see some cocoa butter.
Hey.
I see something that's a kind of PG-13, kind of R-rated.
Hey.
Want to say this one is sponsored by my t-shirt business, flowpito.threadless.com. Support the homie and buy a t-shirt. Please don't tell TK because she's going to hurt me. So I got to give it up to my boy Andrade, looking fly in his all-blue number.
Cool.
Selena Vega is always great in the boudoir. Heads up, gravy girl, And
Trinity.
Phoenix. Yeah, Trin. Don't forget Trin Bianca. She has to be with the Street Profits. Run the tape.
That tape is getting tired, man. It's been running all day.
Y'all can be LeBron James, baby. I want to shout out to Beth Phoenix, looking great with her lipstick as well. Taking that RKO like a champ. That's the boudoir.
Hey, do you need any donations or anything?
Yeah, I need some donations, man.
There you
Send me
go.
some
For the
cash by
t-shirts.
Venmo.
That man, support his t-shirt.
Support the homie by t-shirt.
That's right.
Threadless.com. But now it's time for the King's Court.
All hail Jim Alexander.
Love foreign women.
He is the most handsome, charming,
You like domestic women too, right?
intellectual,
Yeah, of course.
brilliant man on God's
I don't discriminate
green
ever.
earth. Pay attention when the AfterBuzz King speaks.
Yes! My man! Oh, what an entrance! What an entrance! To the King's Court! Like a real king!
We're bowing on the camera. Those who can't see this, we're bowing to him.
Yeah.
Yes!
For the
Thank you,
iTunes
Joshua!
listeners, bow.
Bow down to King Corbin. I haven't forgot my guy. He's over on SmackDown getting something. We need him back on Raw. Today's King's Court, of course, things are usually kind of the same because I like him to be the same. As we're talking about Mandy Rose. I've been rewatching some of SmackDown because I've been missing. My God, Mandy Rose. I don't know why they're doing that blubber boy with her, but Mandy Rose. No, Mandy Rose belongs in the King's Court right next to me. Valentine's Day, no Valentine's, it doesn't matter. Her and Liv
It's
Morgan,
March.
it doesn't matter. Every
Liv
time
Morgan,
of
yes,
year.
Liv Morgan, yes.
Liv Morgan right there next to me. We got Andrade. No, not Andrade. I meant Garza. I don't like her. No, Andrade's got nothing to do. He can't even man my door. We got Garza. We got Bobby Lashley manning the door. We got Drew McIntyre, all my favorites. Lana's inside.
Yeah.
Lana's inside, and ABC Ashley and all the girls on The Bachelor were still remaining right here in the King's Court. All good things are happening. You know what? I'm gonna add some more people as the weeks go on. I know. Hey, there's like free agents. Kathy Kelly's a free agent right now. Come into the King's Court.
Doesn't help Mandy. She's only signed, but she's still in the King's Court.
But there's a couch. There's like a big bed on the King's Court. You guys are wondering.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets that
I bet it's
access.
in a library.
There's a
That's for
couch there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I feel like this is makes the Playboy Mansion look like nothing.
Oh yeah, the neighbors are not fans of it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, right. So I want to give
Love
a
it.
shout out to everybody who's been interacting with us on the show. We released a poll on Twitter about who does the best stunner, Kevin Owens, Steve Austin, Mikey Whipwreck, or Vince McMahon. Overwhelmingly, you guys are fans of Stone Cold, Steve Austin.
Well,
Who's Mikey
not to be that-
Whipwreck?
not to be that guy.
Did you guys make that up?
Yeah, I was gonna
That
say it's a whippersnapper. It's
That's
not
true.
a stunner.
That's true.
So well done, no one voting for that. That was a red
Who the
herring.
hell is that?
Wow. Okay, there you go. I thought this man would have got at
He's
least
not
one.
on brand for you, Jim.
Gets
Definitely
one
not.
pity vote, but yeah, I guess Kevin Owens has some work to do if he's going to be considered one of the perfect heirs of the stunner. Let's talk about things that are amazing. We have a brand new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits,
Coming to get it on.
in a tag team classic against the Disciple and the Messiah in Brooklyn. Buddy Murphy, or just Murphy, against Seth Rollins. This was a now or never match, like you were saying, Jack. Was pretty peculiar that they call it that, but we have
Yeah.
new champs. Talk to me.
Yeah, it was odd. They've had like 3 matches, and this is their last chance at a. I'm surprised. Like, how did they earn the shot in the first place?
no
They've only
general
had
manager,
3
it's fine.
matches, and it's their last shot. But the match, as a match, was a fantastic match. I feel like this was what they always wanted to begin with. I think this is why they took the titles off the Viking Raiders, but didn't have it be the AOP. Is I think this is helping them to pivot AOP versus Street Profits now.
True. Before I ask you, Jim, Dylan Matthew in chat says, my sister's been kicked out of King's Court. LOL. So,
Hey, no, she's still there.
No,
Dylan.
too late, man.
She's Dylan. Hey,
You had your shot.
hey, your sister. Hey, we always invite. I forgot her name.
Thoughts on the match? The tag
Kelly,
team
I
match.
think, yeah.
To get it's Brittany.
Oh, Brittany, yeah.
Yeah, tag team match. Thoughts
This is very important to Jim.
It is very important, actually. All Australians are welcome. I seriously, I met an
Fair.
Australian today on
Fair.
a red carpet.
Yeah, they're pretty nice, yeah.
Danielle, she's in the, also in the
wait.
boudoir. So when this match, here's the thing. I guess I'm surprised he took him off of Rollins and Murphy that quick, because you think they would have held on, given some more prestige as like top guys. Well, at least in Rollins' case, holding on to the titles. But what do you do with the Street Profits? You've been hinting them. You've been trying to push them. Really, like at some point they need a payoff and need something from it besides the cups and being backstage doing bad promos. At least now it legitimizes them more as in-ring competitors, which we wanted to see, because that's probably the best part of what they do.
True.
Is their in-ring work. So I'm glad that they got it, but now how do you keep their momentum? You need to keep on riding out. They need to hold this title for a little bit, past WrestleMania, and actually get in a ring more. Hopefully this will mean they'll be in a ring more and not doing comedic, corny backstage promos.
I think the reason why the Street Profits have the Raw Tag Team Champions is the same reason why the Fiend doesn't have the Universal title. Is that you don't really need Seth doesn't need the championship belt. The Street Profits kind of do. You have 2 different stories. Kevin Owens can go over there, so I'm not too worried about that. But it is kind of interesting they decided now on Brooklyn between pay-per-views, not the pay-per-view itself. I was waiting for that.
Best Shake Shack next to the arena.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that one's pretty dope. We got to move on real quick. We found out what's inside Eric Rowan's cage.
Yes.
Finally.
I hope it's a joke, but it's not. It looks like a giant animatronic spider, and not exactly, and not the one from Wild Wild West. Jack Farmer, what's going on, dude?
I mean, run the tape. I've been saying.
Not the tape too.
I've been saying like there's nothing in there that's going to be amazing. There's nothing that he could have had in there that would have made it worth months of build up. I thought the same thing. I hoped this was a joke. It's clearly not. I feel like they just realized this was a silly story, and I think they just pulled the plug.
Well, hold on. How's that work if No Way Jose is like, hey, what's in the box? Oh, thanks for asking. What? No way, Jose.
Yeah.
Jim,
You gotta give
why?
Jose because it doesn't matter. When I said last week, why are we talking about Eric Rowan? He doesn't matter. He's irrelevant. Here's the thing. They had us initially, the first couple weeks, if they did it after like week 3, that's when you reveal it. You know, 2 weeks of teasing it,
great.
and then on week 3, then it could have been interesting, and it probably would have been something better. This is at a point where they just need to. It's like going to the bathroom and finally relieving yourself after, feeling nauseous for days,
Oh, it wasn't that good.
Yeah, well, you needed to flush it away, and this was being flushed away because it doesn't matter now. I don't even know if this was probably their original idea. Probably wasn't, because you wouldn't wait that long. This is a key time, like a key example of them holding on to something, thinking it's gonna be bigger, and then it just
Like Lana and Lashley, I know.
No, that's still.
I wanted to bring
She
it
even
back.
came out in Super Showdown. Okay, she
needed to bring
accompanied
her
to
back.
Super Showdown.
But
This is just bad.
I agree. I think they started this without an idea of where they wanted it to go, and then they kept thinking, okay, we'll come up with something, and realized, 1, no one's really that into it, and 2, they just need to move on.
Because it's Eric Rowan, it just doesn't matter.
This is silly. I would personally hope he stops even coming out with the cage. I hope they just.
I just hope he
remove
stops
it.
coming out.
Ooh, I wouldn't go that far. I think there's still some kind of way to salvage Eric Rowan.
Lower mid card.
Speaking of confusing things today, Kairi Sane had a match against Shayna Baszler. Confused for a bunch of reasons. One, Asuka was billed, but she had an injury. Becky comes out looking all Elton John-like, and Shayna Baszler had a very slow-paced match, even though she's trying to be put off as his unstoppable force. Jack Farmer, walk me through this segment. What worked and what didn't?
It was really confusing me because I also thought it was weird that they pitched Asuka but then gave us Kairi Sane. It was weird that we're trying to boo Shayna but she's beating up another antagonist. Becky came out looking kind of like she was supposed to be the bad guy, kind of as the cocky bad guy the whole time.
Yeah.
It was a very weird.
She wore a crown like this guy.
I was surprised that Baszler didn't come out of the gates hotter, and it was just like a slow kind of methodical thing.
Yeah.
It confused me a bit. I mean, I'm glad that Baszler won. She got a win over someone who's currently a champion, which is great. It just, for me, that segment felt like the idea was there, but it didn't quite connect the way I wanted it to.
Before I ask Jimmy your thoughts about this, Lucci, this is Dolly, the Ember to Fame, says, Becky is no longer over. I'm sorry. Continue. Thoughts
She's
about the match.
no longer over?
Thanks about the match. Shayna Baszler.
Becky hasn't been over for a long
Here it
time in
comes.
case you've been watching. Here's the classic example. We're talking about Rowan, not, to a lesser scale, obviously, with Rowan, but they've run out of ideas for her, and she's not bringing it. She just isn't. It's like, so you're watching someone that's trying so hard to stand out and be cool and be hip, and it's just not working.
I try all the time. I try way too hard.
It's just not working. Be yourself. It's like she's just every feud she's trying to be a new character, a new persona. She's a vigilante. She's this. She's a half heel. She's a half face.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore, because it's like, when someone's pressing too hard and it never shows up good.
Yeah.
And this is the case of someone burned out. Let her drop this title. Put her away for a couple months, like out of the sight, like have her take a break, and then maybe she can come refreshed and maybe start her momentum again, as someone that's chasing a title. Because right now it's someone that's overplayed, overdone, and overtried, and it's just not sticking. It's not.
She's the exact opposite of what they're doing with Drew McIntyre.
Absolutely.
Like, Drew McIntyre, that's why it's so good they're keeping him off TV a little bit, only giving us little doses. With Becky, it seems like it's just constant.
Forced.
Multiple times, sometimes in one show, and it's just gotten repetitive. I'm going to pump the brakes on saying she's not over. You do hear reactions from the crowd
That's
and things,
true.
but I would say I agree. I think
Dwindling.
I think it's not at the level it once was. I think it's just overexposure. I'm not against Becky. I just think she's overexposed, and I think she needs to take a few steps back so we can love her again.
She's going to enter soon the Bailey territory of being bad, being forced to do something that you're bad at.
The worst.
I am triggered, but we have
Hey guys, I'm Bailey.
That is not how she talks.
With me.
She just won a hug, damn it. Let's talk about this. The former Riott squad was in a one-on-one match. Liv Morgan taking on Ruby Riott with Sarah Morgan as a special guest referee. Thoughts about this now? Because this was like an offshoot of the Lana and Lashley thing, but now it's kind of its own nexus.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, Jim Alexander, walk me through this.
God.
Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, what's happening now in Elimination Chamber on Sunday?
Here's the thing. two of these individuals don't matter and one does. Take a guess.
Ruby
Liv
Riott.
Morgan.
Ruby
No,
Riott.
stop it! Stop it!
Ruby Riott.
No, this is the King's Court. No. Here's the thing. Liv Morgan, one of them has to go over, and who's got the brightest future and potential? Liv Morgan, clearly, right? So finally start this, and Ruby Riott might be a good opponent for her. Not only there's history built in to help Liv kind of move along, but Liv needs to go over and go over strongly in this feud, whether more Sarah Logan aligns with Ruby or whatnot. I think that's where it's probably leaning to. Liv Morgan needs to look like the heroine and look strong and going over cleanly over Ruby so she can build herself to a bigger feud to get into that title picture. Because we need more women. That's what we're seeing.
Yes.
We're seeing Baszler versus another heel because they don't utilize enough women on that roster that they have, even though Raw's roster with women is already slim and short.
Sure.
So let's build new stars. Liv Morgan is waiting for that. She's got the tools to be that. Let's elevate her, and this might be a good start if it's done properly.
Sure, Liv Morgan's got the promos, but Jack Farmer, Sarah Logan made the fast count today. Where's she going in this feud?
You know, I feel like she's going to be the odd one out at the end of this. I would actually like her to realign with Ruby Riott and be a female tag team and let Liv go over
the
as a
Viking
single
Raiders?
star.
What about naturally something fitting, something that works for her probably with the Viking Raiders?
Sure.
We're talking about people getting natural, easing them into natural feuds and comfort levels and stability. Put her with the Viking Raiders, put certain people that will help them out because they're comfortable with each other.
Everyone in the chat saying Liv Morgan is amazing, but thanks
Yes,
for
she
tuning
is.
in to this episode of Monday Night Raw After Show. We're kind of out of time. Jack Farmer, I know we're close to Elimination Chamber. Tell people to watch and where they can find you online.
Yeah, you can find me at jackcfarmer.com as well as at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. You can also check me out on the AEW After Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also check out an article I wrote up on how Nick Aldis is wrestling's most valuable wrestler. Check it out on AfterBuzzTV.com.
You writing now? You want to write for my website too as a contributor?
Oh, you got the job offer? I went to your
you
red
too.
carpets, bro.
Hey,
No,
you're
forget it.
already
No.
on camera.
It's who you know.
Listen, and if you want to, if you want to see these guys write, check out Real Talker, REEL Talker.com. The best content, the best breaking news. I'm getting people suspended probably, or whatever it is. That's where we're placing at the Jim Alexander on all social media. Flobito.
Thank you. My name is Flobo Boyce. You can follow me at Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito. My vlog series, What's Up Flobo, is live on YouTube. And of course, Flobito.com. Support the homie. Buy a t-shirt at Flobito.threadless.com. Long extra, I know. But until next time, y'all, buzz you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.